If you haven't tried Neville Goddard's revision technique, you are missing out. I'm going to share with you a wild example of how this worked and why you should incorporate it into your everyday manifestation practice with your visualizations. If you're not familiar with this technique, the long and short of it is at the end of the day, as you're falling asleep, before you start working on your goal slide that you should be running all the time and imagining as you're falling asleep, think about the day that you just had and anything that didn't go as you expected or as you preferred. You're going to reimagine it, basically rewriting it the way that you preferred it to happen. Manifestation is part of my normal routine. So I always have a goal slide or scene that I'm imagining and visualizing as I'm going to sleep. But I also incorporate the revision technique into it. So before I jump into my slide visualization, I go through my day and I do this practice. When I first learned about the revision technique, I kind of thought it was crazy. I couldn't understand how it would work until I tried it and it worked for me. So I'm going to try to explain how this works. While time is not linear, it feels linear to us, which is why we can't understand in our current lives how you can rewrite the past. But what showed up for me when I was able to get this example that really worked for me is that the outcome that you are rewriting changes in the future. So while I was going through my divorce, we had an extreme custody situation between my ex and myself with my two children. And part of that, for any of you out there who have gone through divorce, you get a psychological evaluation and there's a custody assessment and all of these things with lawyers and psychologists and all of these things. And so we were going through the process. Both my ex and myself were assessed that we had to go through this process. And the custody evaluator we were working with issued a report to the court, ultimately suggesting that we have 50-50 shared parenting, right? Which makes sense for most people. However, in his report, some of the issues that my ex and I were having with my children were not outlined. He didn't really listen to either one of us when we were talking about the issues and trying to understand how to resolve them. He put some kind of garbage statements in this report saying that we should work together, and that wasn't happening in our case. We needed real solutions, and it was very upsetting that we paid all of this money for this custody evaluator who we felt didn't do a good job. So that was one example where in my mind, I was rewriting and rewriting and rewriting it every night before I was going to sleep. Now, you can do this every single day with the events that are happening in your life that you want to rewrite. But if there's a situation like the one I just described that is something that you would like to change that outcome, as you keep envisioning it over and over again as you're falling asleep to the outcome that you would prefer, eventually that outcome is going to change. And that's what happened to us. About a month later, the custody evaluator came out with a revised report that outlined what we had been talking about, the problems that we had brought up as the two parents of these children. And he listed real solutions and how we could get to a better place for our kids. So it was like fireworks for me when I saw the revised letter. I could not believe my eyes that the final report came out. It said final. It was presented to the court, and decisions were being made from this report that didn't have accurate information. Come to find out a month later, unbeknownst to either one of us, meaning my ex and myself, we showed up for one of our court dates and the judge had this different report that was exactly what we had wanted. So if you haven't tried this technique, I encourage you to do so. It's like magic. And if there's something really important in your life that you would like to change the outcome on, I think this might be a good tool for you to try. Remember, as you're going through the revision, to understand that having the perspective that everything is working out for you and understanding that it's still driving you forward on your path, pair that with your intuition and don't lose sight of that. Because if you start getting down in the dumps if something didn't go your way, it's going to have the opposite effect of a positive outcome for you. So just be aware when you start using that technique to come at it with the lens that whatever already happened is for your highest and best, and everything is still working out for you. And there's a reason behind that happening, and just looking at the situation with the glass half full perspective, because you're going to have an easier time getting to that outcome with a positive outlook. So let me know if you have tried the revision technique yourself. I would love to see your examples in the comments. And if you haven't checked out this video yet on manifestation, I think you'll really like this.